Toy Story is one of my favorite movie series of all time. I love almost everything about it except for the fact that it just never seems to end. Like seriously, they just keep making movies at this point, and I know for a fact this is not going to be the last one. The Toy Story 5 final trailer came out earlier today. I watched it and I think it's fine. It looks fine, but I just know for a fact that when the movie comes out, it's going to break any and all continuity that the last four movies had between each other. The fourth movie kind of broke some continuity and brought a lot of plot holes into the Toy Story franchise, but this movie seems like it's going to do a lot worse. I just can't help but feel like that's their aim though. Disney and Pixar, more so Disney, wants these movies to break continuity and just recycle all the jokes and all of the plot points from the first movies and all for the money and to bring the good image of Disney. I say good image even though I know it's not the good image for me, it's the good image for them. Yeah, those guys. The suits and ties at the very top who make more money than any of us can ever dream of, and will just keep on mandating sequels after sequels because they know no matter how much you criticize it, we're going to go see it because we just want to be part of the conversation or something like that. And honestly, that's the thing that hurts the most about Toy Story 5. Toy Story movies don't feel special anymore. I know I wasn't alive at the time, but I can look back at the hype of the first Toy Story back in 1995, and it was something magical. It wasn't just another movie. It literally changed animation forever. People forget that sometimes because CGI animation is so normal now, but back then this was insane. Pixar basically reinvented the genre with that movie. And we all know the technology was groundbreaking and the story was great and blah 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 blah, right? But people just don't love it because it looked cool. They loved it because the writing was just so good for a movie like this. Woody and Buzz had real chemistry. Andy felt like a real kid. The toys genuinely felt alive even when they weren't moving. There was heart put into this movie, and you can still feel it even 30 years later. Then Toy Story 2, one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it is the deepest animated movie ever made, with the whole Jessie backstory and with all of the interplay with the characters and just how funny it is. Like the jokes are somehow so well written in that movie that they are still trying to be topped even 25 years later. And then Toy Story 3 came out and somehow gave us what felt like the perfect ending. I know for a fact that that ending keeps getting milked to this day, but you cannot deny the power of it. There's a reason it gets milked, because as a guy myself who is going through the exact same phase as Andy is, that ending just completely destroys me now that I rewatch it. And then Toy Story 4 happened. Now don't get me wrong, I don't hate Toy Story 4. In fact, as a nerd of just visuals, I will immediately put out there, this is Pixar's best looking movie ever made. And I actually think the themes about identity and moving on from your purpose are interesting ideas. But the problem is the movie kind of sacrifices Woody's character to make those themes work. Especially if you're a big fan of Toy Story 2 and 3, which I am, then you already know that ending kind of just retcons everything he's about, just for a tear-jerking moment. But it's not a tear-jerking moment that's earned in a lot of ways. It doesn't make you cry out of happiness or sadness. It makes you cry out of frustration. Because when you really think about it, Woody spent 3 movies being defined by loyalty. Loyalty to Andy, loyalty to the toys, loyalty for being there for a kid. Then suddenly in Toy Story 4, he's just willing to leave everybody behind because of a girl. It felt weird to me. It felt like they changed him into a different character because they needed an emotional ending again. And don't even get me started on Buzz in Toy Story 4. Why did they make him such a dumb comic relief, man? Like, this is Buzz Lightyear. This is supposed to be the coolest character, the coolest looking character, the coolest sounding character ever, and they make him into this. He learned to accept reality, become emotionally intelligent, and he grew throughout the trilogy. But in Toy Story 4, they reduced him to the whole inner voice thing, and that was just kind of, ugh. That's the kind of thing that worries me about Toy Story 5, because I think it's going to double down on this kind of humor. Because the trailers already kind of give that vibe. Like, I'm not watching this movie thinking this is going to be a classic in every single way, or this is at least going to be a fun addition to the Toy Story franchise. I'm looking at this thinking, This is going to tarnish almost everything I love about this series. It feels louder and bigger and more exaggerated, but not in a good way. More focused on references and callbacks than actual emotional storytelling from the point of view of me and other Toy Story fans who actually know what they're thinking about. Corporations are forcing studios to think that nostalgia, even modern nostalgia alone, is enough to carry a movie, and that's obviously not the case. And the issue is that Toy Story was never just nostalgia. Even with a 15-year gap between the trilogy, there was never nostalgia there. The reason people connected to these movies was because they reflected real-life stages. Toy Story 1, insecurity, jealousy, and the power of friendship. Toy Story 4, fear of abandonment and loyalty. Toy Story 3, growing up and letting go. Toy Story 4, finding a new purpose after your original purpose is gone. Those themes are why those movies lasted. So now I look at Toy Story 5 and I honestly ask myself, what's the theme here? And more importantly, after this, what story is even left to tell? And another thing people don't talk enough about is how difficult it is to keep continuity in a franchise like this when the emotional arcs are already kind of complete, in my opinion. Every new sequel has to invent a new reason for conflict. It has to undo some kind of closure from the previous movie, or else there wouldn't even be a movie. That's why people complain about plot holes in long-running franchises all the time, because endings stop meaning anything if you constantly reopen them. And honestly, I think we all know deep down that Disney knows people are going to watch this anyway. That's the power of the names of franchises like Toy Story or Cars, because parents are going to take their kids to see it. Older fans are going to watch it out of curiosity, like myself. Reviewers are going to compare it to the older movies for months, even years. And financially, it's no secret, this movie is going to explode. We're looking at another $1 billion on our hands. But I think we all know that success and quality is not the same thing, because when you look at movies that make $1 billion, many of them are forgotten about 2 years later. And then there are movies like the original Toy Story that stay in people's hearts for decades because they actually meant something. That is the real difference. Even though it's kind of happened already, I don't want Toy Story to become one of those franchises where people only talk about the good old days while ignoring the newer ones completely. I don't want to dislike Toy Story 5. If anything, I want to like it. Like, I'm seriously hoping that I'm actually wrong about this. I really hope that I walk out of that movie theater and say, you know what? That was actually pretty fun. But based on the trailers that have been coming out, I don't feel that confidence. I feel corporate energy. Hey, remember when Buzz and Woody hated each other? They still hate each other now. I'm not excited about this movie. And I will say for a fact, you are not ready for my Toy Story 5 review. It's going to be something so real that no one is willing to talk about with movies anymore. I'm going to take it back to the days of the Sonic Unleashed IGN review. Yeah, that infamous one. If this movie comes out and is even slightly below my expectations, I'm absolutely gonna rip it to shreds. And I'm not holding back anything. Until then, screw you, Toy Story 5. And screw you, Andrew Stanton.